Pregame.com.
Welcome back to pregame.tv. Saturday college football action. We're going to take a look at West Virginia at Baylor. Well, I got to tell you, Ken, Baylor, you talk about consistency. 3 games they've played so far. They have won 69-3, 70-13, and 70-7. Is 70 where they shut the offense off? This is like...
It was last game. They pulled the starters in the middle of the third quarter. When they went up 70-7, 7:41 to go, third quarter. They did not score again. They could have scored 100 points if they left everyone in there.
Is Baylor the poor man's version of Oregon?
I don't even know if they're the poor man's version because their wideouts may be better than Oregon's. Their running back was at Oregon, Lake Seastrunk. He's a transfer from Oregon. So, and with DeAnthony Thomas down for Oregon, by the way, he won't play this Saturday. That's a key loss for the Ducks. Tell you what, keep an eye on Art Briles, boys. It's a pretty darn good team.
They're playing some good football.
But they haven't played anybody yet.
No question, but they had success last year, too. I mean,
right.
This is not, a lot of people thought, a couple of years ago, you had RG3 there, so everybody, RG3. Well, the Heisman winner moves on to the NFL. This team didn't miss a beat.
No, Nick Florence stepped in nicely, and now it's Bryce Petty. So, again, it's the system, but you still have to be an adequate quarterback.
Yeah. The question I have for you, and this is something, I go to the Tuesday meeting every week. It's a...
I tried to get you out of that. But.
Well, the Tuesday meeting is, it's a collection of some pretty sharp minds around town, and we discuss the games. And every week we've been talking about Oregon, Baylor. The line comes out. It's like Vegas can't put a number up big enough on these teams. They just keep covering. And what happens Sunday, when the Wind pops a number up, they're the first here in town to pop a number on the Strip. It's like, boom. It's everybody's in line, everybody's grabbing it, and all of a sudden that line's 3 points higher, in just a blink of an eye because they just don't put the number quick enough, and they still keep covering. This is a situation with this one surprised me. This one opened at 30, and this one's now at 27.5. More of an overreaction from what West Virginia did last week with Oklahoma State? What do you think?
I think so. I think because, Baylor was off and West Virginia took care of business against a team that a lot of people thought would challenge Oklahoma for the title, and at the beginning, the Big 12 title, and at the beginning of the year, a lot of people had Texas in that mix as well. Those 3, Okie State, Oklahoma, Texas, and then Baylor was, it's a nice offense, but we'll wait and see. And still there is a wait and see policy out there with Baylor. You got to see how they do against, conference foes.
Well, this is going to be, a good test for Baylor in West Virginia. Do they have a letdown after a major upset like that?
Well, it's Holgerson's old school. He's offensive coordinator there at Oklahoma State. It was a big win. And this is a team that has not played well and came off getting shut out. So they made a nice statement, put up 30 points, and they beat Okie State. And it was inside the conference, and I know Holgerson has to feel a sigh of relief. But now you got to take on and go to the road and try and stop a juggernaut. Now, Holgerson is a very innovative offensive mind himself, but to me, Art Briles is one of those guys that his stock just keeps rising.
And if you remember last year's game, I teased it kind of when we were, leading out of the last video and said there might be some points scored in this one. 133 points were scored in this matchup last year. And of course, Geno Smith was the quarterback at West Virginia, and they were, running that offense where they were going up and down the field, and Baylor was answering every score. But West Virginia won 70-63. Do you see West Virginia's offense being able to, score points in here and stay with Baylor at all?
I think they can score points, but this defense is by far the best defense that Art Briles has had. He's got 3 stout linebackers that are back. He's got 8 defensive starters that are back, and they're solid. These guys are pretty good. And again, how much can we take Louisiana Monroe, a team that's really disappointed? I mean, a lot of us thought that they would challenge for the Sun Belt, but Colton Browning and company have struggled mightily. Again, you beat Wofford, no big deal. And then the other game, Buffalo, coming off the lambasting they took in Columbus. Right. So they were already beat up. So, again, we'll find out a lot more about Art Briles and Baylor and also about West Virginia. I mean, Holgerson will surprise me if he's able to hang in this game.
Well, you know what? I want to find out what you got to say, let's make this official. It's your free pick.
We'll do it. Yeah, tip my hat a little bit there. I mean, to me, you're looking at a touchdown a quarter. That's what Baylor has to cover. A touchdown every 15 minutes to cover the line, 27.5. And it may even go down a little bit more. Again, a lot of people are looking, hey, this is unreal. How did West Virginia not only cover against Okie State, but they beat them by 9 points? So maybe Holgerson's turned things around at West Virginia. As Lee Corso would say, not so fast, my friend. I've got to look at Clint Trickett, the transfer from Florida State coming over. Did an adequate job last week, 24 of 50, 309. So still under 50%. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. That won't get it done in Waco. Now, they do have the versatile back, Charles Sims, the transfer from Houston. Remember him? Case Keenum used to dump it off to this guy all the time or hand it off. He loves this type of offense. He's their leading receiver. He's also their leading rusher. He is solid. There is no doubt. Carswell and Shorts, 2 pretty good wideouts as well. Again, Holgerson comes off the nice win against the school that he worked for before, Oklahoma State. They're going to travel to Waco. This place will be jumping. Art Briles has them sold. And I'm a USC guy. I love Southern Cal, and I think for them to get offensively into 2013, 2014, they need an innovative offensive mind to run the show there. Kiffin is out. Let's see who they bring in. We hear all the talk about Chris Peterson. We hear all the talk about Kevin Sumlin. Let's remember, Kevin Sumlin, he took over a Houston ball club that Art Briles built, and he left the cupboard pretty full there for Sumlin to parlay that into his Texas A&M job. And it's easy to look good when you have Johnny Manziel there for 2 years. So Art Briles, to me, he is the guy that gets programs started. I'd love to see him take over Southern Cal because he's a very young, 61 years of age, and I think he's somebody that can really put SC back on the map, and he would excel there. But right now, he's in Waco. He's excelling there. Bryce Petty's the new kid on the block to take over for Florence, who took over for RG3. Again, Lake Seastrunk, he's the transfer from Oregon, and this guy, he is just dynamic. He is fast as they come. You also have Shock Linwood. He backs him up, gives him a spell every now and then. 2 outstanding receivers, Goodley, Tevin Reese. Both guys have 14 and 15 receptions, respectively, over 720 yards between them, a 26.4-yard average for Goodley, and 23.3 there for Tevin Reese. Coleman, Norwood, and Lee, 3 other adequate receivers, because remember, they're using 4 or 5 receivers at a time. Sometimes they don't go with the tight end. They'll actually have 5 wideouts, and it gets crazy. You have no clue, and then they'll run it. When they send all these guys down the field, they'll run it, and that's what makes wide open field there for Seastrunk, and he's usually getting 6, 7, 8 yards a carry. How about he averages 11 yards a carry? That's absolutely ludicrous. Meanwhile, for Baylor, again, defensively, Marco asked me, do I think that they'll be able to slow down West Virginia's offense, who put up a lot of points last year? And, of course, that was with Geno Smith, and you had Stedman Bailey, and you had Tavon Austin. So you had those 3 guys right there, that little trifecta for West Virginia that made them so dangerous. But you got Hager, Lackey, and Hall. These are 3 solid linebackers, 3 of the best in the Big 12. Then you also have Joe Williams, an outstanding cornerback. Ahmad Dixon, safety. He will return for this one. He sat out last game because academic, not sure if he was going to be ineligible or not. They have made him probable, so he will be there. So I look for the defense to slow down West Virginia. I expect West Virginia to score between 17 and 24, but I expect Baylor to get up over 55, 60, maybe even 70 again and hit that magic number. West Virginia is going to wonder what hit them. When this score is 42-13 at halftime, you're going to say, man, no problem laying 27.5, Marco. I'm telling you, this offense is for real. There are so many different looks that they give you, and you have no clue what Briles is going to do. I don't even know if he knows what he's going to do until he sees what the defense is doing out there, and then he just picks them apart. He is absolutely incredible, and I think he is in my top 3 as far as coaches in the country.
All right. Well, there you go. Some very powerful stuff from Ken. We're going to come back. We're going to shift gears. We're going to head to the NFL next. We're going to take a look at Sunday Night Football. Houston Texans, San Francisco. I don't really want to talk about the Houston Texans from last week, but we're going to have to relive it. That's next. Pregame.tv.